Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I am your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
Nope, my name is Mike Poworski. I am your co-host today, a co-host from the East Coast, a coast with the most, with the co-host that has the most. Here on The Rundown, 2A Views, conservative news. Craig, great to be with you on this this hump day.
Hump day.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's hump day.
Hump day.
It's hump day.
Hump day.
That's right, folks. It is Wednesday. It is hump day. This is the day where we attempt to begin the weekend. Mike, how is the attempt working so far there for you in Florida?
Long weekend. Conference coming up. Got to go do a bunch of work here over the weekend. So not too bad, but it's one of them kind of conferences. Glug, glug, glug. So we'll be okay. You know?
Right. It's, it's kind of like, I call them mullet conferences. It's like business in the front, party in the back.
That's it. Exactly right.
Those
Craig, I just noticed today, looking
Yes,
at the screen, it looks like you and I are a couple of coaches from the Rams. So,
well, see, I'm wearing a "Don't Tread on Me" T-shirt. So,
I'm just wearing a blue polo.
you're just wearing a blue shirt. Yeah, we do kind of look like we're coaching the Rams. That ain't a good thing. That's not a good thing. Although they did win the Super Bowl, so got to give them that.
What year was that?
Oh, they're just last year or this year actually.
Really?
I take
No,
it back.
I don't follow football. So,
I know. I don't follow baseball, but hey, it is what it is.
That's right. Yep. Baseball appreciates it.
Right. Well, hey, folks, for those of you who are watching or those of you who are listening, do us a favor. Like, share, subscribe. Encourage your friends to do the same. Remember, there's pretty much no place you cannot watch us, except for maybe China. They probably won't let us on in China.
Oh, we got banned.
Or Russia. But otherwise, YouTube,
Not like
Facebook.
Russian TV.
You can watch us on. Actually, you can now find us on Twitter. You can watch this on OpsLens. You can watch it on Spotify. You can listen anywhere you get podcasts. All you got to do is look us up. 2A News, Conservative Views, The Rundown.
There you go. Just like that. Do what he said. Do it now. Now.
Just like that. Now, Mike, before we get into today's news stories, and I was going to include this as a parting shot, but I figured I wanted to just start off with this one. This is
right.
Joe Biden, when speaking to the AFL-CIO yesterday, decided he got upset and angry because, with everything going on with inflation, and people basically talking about all the reckless money that we've spent, Joe Biden decided to yell at the country once again. Well, this is what he had to say.
I don't want to hear any more of these lies about reckless spending. We're changing people's lives.
That's right. We're changing people's lives. I'm like, is it just me or he is now just like grumpy old president is what they need to do. Is what they need to make a movie. Grumpy old president.
Listen, it sounds like it would be a good movie, but I mean, listen, anger and outbursts is another side of dementia. How do people not putting this crap together, Craig? This is about, like when it says puzzle for 2 to 4 year olds, we're in one of those kind of puzzles figuring this out. This is not a difficult one.
No, it's not a difficult one. When he constantly forgets what he's talking about mid-sentence, when he wanders around because he doesn't know exactly where he's supposed to go, when you get angry outbursts like this, I mean, these are all signs of dementia. What was even funnier was you had the press secretary talking about, I don't know, I can't keep up with him. I mean, this, that, and the other, and we shouldn't even be talking about his age as dementia. I'm like, look, lady, there is absolutely, if you cannot spin this.
Yeah.
There's no spin. Everybody knows the man is suffering from dementia and the man is beyond his prime at the very least. There's no way this dude should be running for president in 2024.
This guy should have been run for president in 2020. That's the problem.
Well, there you go. Well, but he was the only person they had who, well, because here's the thing. Any of the quote unquote thinking Democrats, yeah, well, they're all Marxists. So the Democratic Party was like, I don't think we're quite ready to elect a Marxist. So we have to elect an empty suit so that we can implement our Marxist policies.
Well, exactly. It was a perfect storm, right? Here's a guy who's not going to be able to, maintain his own thought process. We'll be able to input what we want in his mouth with words to say. In the meantime, we'll be manipulating elections throughout the country. So this is going to work out, and it did worked out well for them. But they don't seem to understand how close they really are, Craig, to making January 6th look like a lunch in the park.
Yes.
Go ahead, keep raising gas prices and doing the whole, it's not our fault. Yeah, see what happens. Because the first place and the worst place you can hurt an American is in the daily wallet. All right.
Right.
And that's what's happening. All right.
Well, exactly. No one's talking about January 6th. Everyone's talking about, well, in California, $6 gas prices.
Yes. Yeah. And once that's the narrative going on, that's going to be the smack Congress around kind of.
Well,
times.
exactly. And that, by the way, we'll be talking a little bit about that in a later story.
Yeah.
But let's start off with Uvalde. And
I don't want to hear any more of these lies.
yeah, I don't want to hear any more.
He don't want to hear any more of those lies. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So right now, there is an interesting thing going on. There's an article in the Daily Mail where they've been trying to get information about what's going on what happened with the police chief over there in Uvalde, and this is something. There appears to be a major cover-up there in Uvalde dealing with the top cop, Mr. Pete Arenado. I'm gonna say Arredondo. There we go. Arredondo, yes. And, requests for information, trying to find out what dude was doing at the time and what he was supposed to be doing and what their training was and all of that. First of all, it appears very clear that Mr. Arredondo does not want to answer to the public because the city council meeting following what happened, he wasn't there. He's not really answering any media requests. And when the media does public records acts, the city appears to be flat out ignoring them.
Yeah. So remember, it's just confusing enough to where they can play the the duck, dive, dip, dodge, duck, game with them, because the Uvalde Police Department has their own police department, right? Or City of Uvalde has their own police department. The school district also has their own police department. Pete Arredondo is with the school district police department. So when you go to the city council meeting and ask for requests from the information about the school district police department, you're not going to get it. So that's what I'm saying. It's just confusing enough. So. They don't have to comply. However, they have made a total of 148 requests, and they have made them of the city. And many of the things that the city could provide, they've chosen not to provide also. So what you have here is a coordinated effort to cover up the bungled response. This is like taking a page right out of the Pulse shooting playbook.
Yeah.
How to cover up the police bungled response to a mass shooting event. Here you go.
Yeah, you're totally right, because in some cases you have, yes, they may have their own quote unquote police department, but they may contract with the city. So even though they may be city personnel, that does not necessarily mean that it is run by the city, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and listen, here's how I can guarantee you this is how it works there is that the uniformed city police officers are responsible for everyday crime in and around the school. Whereas the school police officers are responsible for going around and teaching DARE classes and doing internal investigations. So they both have some bit of coverage, but the primary law enforcement response should have been the city. And the city is saying, no, it should have been the school district police. And the school district police going, I don't have a SWAT team. You're the one with the SWAT team. That's your job to answer 911 calls. My job is to answer, this teacher stole my book or this kid touched another kid. That's their job.
Well,
so
I think
they're going to continue to point to each other over this.
I think it depends on the school district because, for example, we have some school districts here that also have their own police department, and they are literally their own police department. I don't know that they necessarily have SWAT teams, But even that doesn't change their responsibility or what their response is supposed to be in the case of an active shooter situation like this. Now, where the confusion comes in is when you go to start requesting records. Okay, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Should I be going to the county sheriff's office? Should I be going to the police chief's office? Or should I be going to the school district police chiefs? Who should I be requesting these records from or this information from?
Yeah, and the Daily Mall, they're requesting from everyone, and
Okay.
everyone there is doing the whole. I'm sorry, what? What? What are you hearing? What?
Well,
you know,
let's
they're
just
all
be honest.
playing the idiots.
It was a major screw up, and no one wants to own it. And my thing is, you know what? I'm sorry, but you've got to own it. The only way you fix it is by actually owning it, owning your part in it. I'm not saying maybe it's not all 100% your fault, but you at least got to own the part that is your fault.
The problem with owning your part in this, Craig, is at this point, people may go to jail over owning their part in it, and that's why they're doing the dance. They're doing the little backstroke.
Well,
They're going to do that.
that's
So.
there. I think you most definitely have a point. I think that people are scared that they might wind up doing some jail time for not fulfilling their responsibilities because, well, let's just be clear. We don't know how long some of those kids were in those rooms or those teachers were in those rooms before they passed. And the fact that they sat outside for around an hour, quite possibly cost a number of lives.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's what happens. Not to get into that part of it, but when you bungle the response, this is what happens. And if you don't seize the initiative, then you end up sitting on your ass outside while 19 kids get killed. And that's what happened there. And they're doing exactly like they did at Pulse. Like I said, they're coming up with the cover stories. Do the 5 rules of dodgeball, right? Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge, right?
Yep.
So that's what they're doing.
That's how politics works.
Yep.
All right, moving right along. Now, we all know that the price of oil, in particular, we know that the lack of oil production here in the United States is playing, at least for us here in the United States, a major role in inflation. We already know that the president is blaming everybody but himself for what is going on with inflation. So there's his response to that. The president's response to that has been, okay, well, yeah, we need to produce more oil domestically. But here's what he's saying. He's saying now, right now, he's warning oil companies that if they don't start producing more oil here in these United States, that he is planning on enacting the Emergency Powers Act to force them to produce more oil. Now, Mike, last I checked, oil companies are profit-making companies, right? Their goal is they're going to produce oil when it is profitable. And there are places where they can actually get more oil, where they can actually produce more oil if it's profitable. But that's not what's happening here because he's making it, any place they could produce oil and make it more profitable, they're saying, no way. We're going to get rid of these oil leases. We're not going to allow you to frack. We're not going to allow you to finish the pipeline from Canada so that we can get more oil from that. We're not going to allow the United States to be energy independent. His goal in this is, number one, not only to make the oil companies produce more oil, but then secondly, to bankrupt them.
Yeah, listen, they can't make more oil if they're not allowed to bring the oil. It's not like they're sitting at the refinery making oil. The oil has to come up from out of the ground, then go to the refinery and be refined into gasoline and other petroleum byproducts. He stopped this. He stopped the drilling. He stopped the pipe. Even if Greg, if we don't even worry about the pipeline, we have enough. I saw a stat this week that said we have enough domestic oil in our ground, known ground, like in today's wells, to last us 400 years at current demand. All right. So, but you can't. He turned them off. Bring back up the your page there. There's a bottom sentence there on that cover story. I want to read to people that says, I understand that many factors contributed to the business decisions to reduce refinery capacity, which occurred before I took office. What? Could we get a lie that's less a lie, Craig? I mean, that's 100% the opposite of what occurred.
Well, you're right. At least under the Trump presidency, there were a lot of decisions and regulations that were put in play or that were removed to allow for an increase in refinery capacity. But prior to that, no, he is right. During the Obama administration, they put tons of regulations on refineries. Now, mind you, we haven't built a new refinery in the United States since I believe it was the mid-'70s. In California, we haven't built one since 1969. So there has not been a new refinery built in California since I've been alive. But yeah, so to a certain degree, he's right, but he's being disingenuous.
Well,
right?
It's a lie. He's talking about the
Trump
policies.
Yeah,
he's not talking about the Obama policies there. He's talking about the Trump policies, and he's trying to blame Trump for what he did when he took office.
Well, okay, yes. If he's blaming Trump, then he most definitely is lying. But the other thing is this: is people.
He's saying Trump stopped this. Yeah. He's saying Trump has caused the increase in oil prices based on what Trump did.
Well, that is what he is. That is what he is inferring.
And that's an absolute lie.
And it is the thing that a lot of people don't realize about oil companies is that they talk about, they had record profits. Well, keep in mind, oil companies operate on a very, very, very thin margin. They operate largely, and their profits largely come from volume, right? Yeah. And so just because you can pull oil out of the ground somewhere does not necessarily mean that it is going to be profitable, especially when you put a whole bunch of regulations, a whole bunch of taxes, and a bunch of requirements on the ability, on just getting started to go after oil, right?
Yep.
That's the problem that they don't understand, is that these regulations and these things that they put in place will take a particular project from being potentially profitable to most likely unprofitable, and therefore they're not going to drill on that one.
Right.
That's what winds up happening, because here's the thing, folks. If you're constantly spending more money than you're bringing in, you are going to go out of business. Right? It's not a function of being greedy. It's a function of it just doesn't work that way. If you are constantly, expending more energy than you're consuming, right? You are eventually going to die.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. But now the fact that he wants to try, basically, that's why when I say that he wants to force these companies to produce. Now, in some of these leases that are out there, they can probably withdraw more oil, but that then makes the company go from being profitable to being unprofitable. And unprofitable means you're losing money. Losing money long enough means you are going out of business.
Listen, there's plenty of leases out there that the gas companies look and they say, okay, there's oil on on underground here, but it's not profitable for us to bring up. There's not enough quantity. We would spend $10 to bring up $5 worth of oil. So we're not going to do that. And that happens all the time. And those leases are shut down, and they're still owned by, or the leases are still occupied by the oil companies. But again, they're making business decisions. What if the president wants to make an actual business decision? He'll open back up the leases that he closed that have the higher volumes of oil on them, and that's what he's done. He's closed those up.
Or Mike, how about this one? This is another one they don't even think about, because a lot of these issues are caused by states, right? So, in other words, using your example, right? If it's going to cost me $10 to withdraw $5 worth of oil, but let's say that $6 of that $10 is the result of government regulations from the state. Well, why not force the state to remove their regulations so that now it's profitable?
Oh, why? Because if you're familiar with the term, everybody's got to get their taste. You know what I'm saying?
Well, part of it also is the climate change religion that the left is bowing down to.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
All right. Now, moving right along. Okay, so there were a number of primaries yesterday. And what the reason why we wanted to talk about these primary elections is because in a number of these races, there was actually, how do I want to put this? There were actually, it was almost like Trump was on the ballot in a number of these cases. Mike, you want to give us a rundown of just some of the races where Trump supporters were running against Trump haters and what the turnout or the result of some of those were?
Yeah, let me see. Let me pull up some names here for you. Let's see. Yeah, I think the first one we had was out of South Carolina, if I recall correctly. We had. Hold on, let's pull the names up here, Craig. You got these. Let's do these. I had. Let's see. Oh well. Well, of course, you caught me with my phone going in the wrong direction. You have a article head we could bring up here. Maybe that's what I was kind of waiting for. The first page of the article, like we always do. Yeah.
There you go. Bam.
Yeah. South Carolina. So the ones that we worried about, here we go. South Carolina. Her name was. Oh, there we go. Come on down. There we go. A little bit more. Oh well. All right. Well, hold on. I'm going to pull them up because we're not thinking on the same path here. Let me get these for you.
South Carolina projects Russell Fry. So it was actually a he. So Russell Fry over Tom Rice. That's who
Tom Rice. Yep.
These folks are right here. I don't know which
and if you remember, Tom Rice, he was one of the Republicans that voted to impeach President Trump. So that's nice to see, right? You have the now Trump-supported Republican beating the Republican who voted to impeach President Trump. So
right.
You got to see that one occur. That's where so Russell Fry wins against incumbent Tom Rice there. So we did see. So there's no runoff. There's no nothing. He won but over 51%. So this is clear that he's going to win. Now here's the other one in South Carolina. Nancy Mace. She won a Republican primary there in her district. She's a freshman Republican who flipped South Carolina's district from blue to red. She defeated the Trump-backed former state rep Katie Arrington. That's still good. So you have like old Trump supported by new Trump supported. You know? So So you continue to see these roll through as well. So we're starting to see many of these roll through, and then again we have out in I believe it's in Nevada was our last ones, which is a separate story. Let me pull that one up. Why I all of a sudden my phone is just not cooperating.
Well, it's because you're trying to use it. Once you start to try and use the internet, it decides no, I don't want you to be able to do anything.
And then it was in Texas. Republican Myra Flores. She flips the Texas House district red. This is one that's strongly been that's blue. There we go. Blue for many years. The 34th congressional district. She after Representative Philemon Vala. She held the seat for nearly 10 years. She resigned and vacated the seat. So again, they flipped it to over 51%, requiring no runoff. So here she is. She gets to take on the next Republican or the next Democrat challenger, and we could tell from the current votes where that's going. So we've got another one that looks like it's going to get flipped. So what we're seeing. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, I was going to say what we're going to see, and I think you're going to see this in a number of in particular border states and districts along the border, is that the residents who live there, even if they may have been Democrat strongholds, Republicans are winning outright because they're the ones that are experiencing the brunt of over 2 million people illegal entering the country every over the last year. They're the ones who are seeing over 200,000 come through every month. They're the ones that are dealing with the human carnage that is taking place there. And and this isn't just the issues of crime and whatnot that it's causing, and the fentanyl that's coming through and all of that. But in many of these cases, they're seeing people who are being brought to this country by coyotes, dying on their land, right? In other words, they're barely making it across the border before they finally, succumb to the elements of just the hard journey. And they're recognizing that failed Democrat policies have utterly failed on the border.
Yes, yeah. The other trend when you look at them, Craig, is as you look at these people that are starting to take the places of the swamp personnel, that these are newcomers, right? For the most part, maybe they had one term in some county, city level organization, or they had some kind of local popularity for whatever reason, newscasters, lawyers that were well known. But the people that are now coming forward and winning these elections and taking the seats of the people from the swamp are relative newcomers. These are not people that their entire lives planned on being politicians. These are people that are, I'm damn fed up with this, and we're gonna make this right. And they've got the backing of the former president because he believes in draining that swamp.
Well, exactly. They are definitely taking advantage of the frustrations that people have with the swamp. And I think if he had another 4 years, the president would have done an even more effective job of draining the swamp, or at least clearing out the swamp. Now, what he has done is he's drained the swamp enough to where we can see them gators. Now it's up to us to start to drag some of those puppies out of there and make shoes out of them.
Exactly right. Have some gator nuggets. Yeah.
Make some luggage out of them and send them packing. Make shoes out of them. Send them walking. Whatever analogy you want to use.
Yep.
Oh, talking about sending him walking. I'm really mad at this guy because I really wanted to like him. Came into the NFL, played for just came onto a team that was probably one of the, if not the worst team in football the year before. Did a phenomenal job as a rookie. Despite getting injured, multiple times because his offensive line sucked. And then last year, going all the way to the Super Bowl, despite being the most sacked quarterback in the NFL, once again, no offensive line. Well, clearly he doesn't understand defense either, because here's a guy who decided to come out and put out a statement, or made a statement relating to the Second Amendment. I'm trying to find it here. Where did I put that one? Here we go. Joe Burrow, the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, the AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals, calls for quote unquote common sense gun safety laws. Now, Mike, you and I both know that most gun laws are not common sense, they're common nonsense. And here are the exact words he used. With everything going on, if you're not going to outlaw everything, you've got to at least make it harder to get those crazy guns that everybody's using. Mike, please tell me, what crazy guns is he talking about?
The crazy guns, you get them from Crazy Eddie's gun store. We got crazy guns. We got crazy guns on the left. We got crazy guns on the right. Come by, crazy guns from Crazy Eddie's. Woo! That guy. No, listen. I don't know who asked this guy this question. This wasn't like old Burroughs here sat at home and said, "I'm going to formulate a statement about gun control." This sounds like he's walking through the parking lot now because they got workouts going on, and somebody throws a microphone in his face and says, "Hey Joe, how you feel about guns?" And Joe there's got no preparation, no forethought at all into his statement. And if you read the rest of his statement there, Craig, the rest of that paragraph, this is the most uneducated statement I've seen against guns in quite some time. This is someone who knows that we have amendments to the Constitution, but may have never read them before. This is somebody who took a lot of college classes where he didn't have to show up. Kind of stuff like that. All right.
I don't think you should be able to just walk in there and buy one. You've got to be able to go through a rigorous process and buy something like that, I think.
That's it. So hopefully the people who get paid to make those decisions figure that out. My job is to play football. but hopefully the politicians can figure that one out. Well, you know what then, Joe? You shouldn't have said the first part, right? Because now you look like an idiot. All right.
No,
AFC
he looks like a
champion or not.
dumbass is what he looks like. He looks
That's what I'm
like
saying. This
he's
is the-
been hit in the head a few too many times.
Yeah. This is the most uneducated public opinion on the Second Amendment that I've seen in quite some time.
Well,
and it came out of the NFL.
And it came from a football player. I hate to say it. I'm not saying that football players can't be intelligent, but I'm saying, here's the thing, man. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. There are a lot of things about which I am ignorant, but I generally don't go out and put out public statements about them. Except to say, I don't know much about that.
Yeah. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
All of us are ignorant about something, right? But when you have a platform, then you got to be somewhat responsible with the information that you put out about stuff, about public policy or public opinions. Because believe it or not, Joe, there are dumber people than you who will listen to you. And how do I know they're dumb? Because they're listening to you.
Yep. Listen, you see this happening, right? This guy's got the world on his shoulders, you know, or he's got the world in his back pocket, right? He's walking to practice. He probably just got out of his Ferrari or his Bentley or whatever, and he knows exactly how much money he's $37,000 today just to practice is what he's making, and he's going to get up there and they come up and they stick a microphone in his mouth, and he's hoping it's going to be one of them. Hey, how you feel about practice today? Did you get that ball off? And they go, how you feel about gun control? And he's like, man, I'm Joe Burrows. I got girls everywhere. I got clubs. I do this. I do everything I want. I'll answer this question. I know what I'm talking about. Now you look like a dummy. Now you look like a dummy, and you're going to have to deal with this for the rest of your life.
Well, unfortunately, looking like a dummy and being a dummy oftentimes are the same thing. And, he won't be held accountable because he's being a dummy, saying the things that people in that industry too often like. And that's, the ESPNs, the media, sports, entertainment industry, full of a bunch of dumbasses. And I have absolutely no problem calling them dumbasses, because when you are ignorant of something and you know you're ignorant of something and you still continue to pontificate on it, well, then that makes you dumb or evil. One of the two. I'll give you both.
The only thing I can be thankful for is he didn't shoot himself in the leg in a dance club.
There you go. All right, moving on to our parting shot, and this kind of fits with gun control. Now, what's funny about this one is it actually brings together two different issues that we've talked about here on the show. In terms of, what makes you, why we should not support red flag laws. All right. That's one of them. And in this case, I so appreciated this tweet that was sent out by Dale Stark here. Red flag laws sound great until you realize that you're labeled crazy for thinking 5-year-olds shouldn't attend drag shows. That's right. We're considered hateful because, you believe that, I don't know, men can't have babies. That now makes you a bigot and hateful, and therefore you should be subject to red flag laws, right? You're
anti-baby at that point. Well, anti-baby birth
birthing
from
person.
men, not
anti-baby
birth from women. So
right.
if you think women, could destroy baby birth, that's okay. But you think men can't, that's makes you crazy. So you get the red flag law. So.
Well, what's even funnier is for all of the men out there, who demand that they get a gynecologist.
Yeah. I am a trans woman. Why can't I have a gynecologist? Well,
and you also, as a trans woman, have a right to an abortion.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. Yeah. Work on that. Let's get that done.
There you go. All right. Now this next one, well, pretty much says it all about our current president. This is Biden sitting in a dental chair talking to a dental assistant. This is him. He says, "My tooth hurts when I suck." The dentist. "So then you're in constant pain."
I would just like to point out, Craig, that I'm offended for women everywhere that you assumed because it was a woman, it was a dental assistant and not the dentist.
I'm just assuming it's a dental assistant because 9 times out of 10 when I'm sitting in the dentist chair, it's almost always the dental assistant until they're actually doing some drilling or something like that. Once the drill comes out, then I know it's the dentist. I don't see a drill. How do I know there's not
All
a
right,
drill?
listen, you're-
I don't see any goggles. They put on those goggles or the shield. Yeah, that's how you know.
Listen, if you got dentists putting on goggles and shield, my friend, you need to do a little bit more prep work with your own teeth. I'm just saying.
I'm just telling you what happens at the dentist.
They're like we got Mr. Snagglepuss out here. It's time.
Ring, 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 ring.
Goggles
Yeah, that's exactly how it goes. All right, so how about a quick shout out to our sponsors?
Let's say hey to Guerrilla Machining, Grid Defense, the California Republican Assembly, and USCombatGear.com.
That's right, folks. Their links to their websites are in the description of this video. Go there. I promise you will find some stuff that you will like. I promise you will find some stuff worth supporting. I promise you will find a way to give them some money. Give them some money. Become a part of what they're doing. And make sure you tell them that the folks over at The Rundown sent you. With that, we're going to call it, once again, we're going to call it a day. Appreciate you guys. We will see you tomorrow on Thirsty Thursday. So, hey, do us a favor. Remember, like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Encourage your friends to do the same.
See you on the flip side.